everybody. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. My name is Martin Loffers. I'm the Chief Trend Watcher of Supply Chain Media. I'm also the Editor-in-Chief and Publisher of Supply Chain Movement, European Quarterly Magazine, and also a bi-weekly newsletter. So I will be moderating this live webinar this afternoon, or this morning, or this evening, considering where you are. And we're going to talk about digital shipping standards. Important topic as we going to explore later on. We will be live in the next 60 minutes, and afterwards we have also an extra 30 minutes to talk afterwards with our expert. So next to me here, I'm on the left side, but next to me I have Dave van Diggele. Welcome. He is from the Digital Container Shipping Association. Welcome to this webinar, Dave. Could you introduce yourself and a bit of your background?
Yeah, thank you, Martijn. And it's great to be here and have the chance to inform a diverse audience about the great things we do at DCSA for all the users of the container shipping industry. Personally, I worked in traditional shipping and forwarding for 25 years in different roles and different geographic zones. I worked mainly on the business part, product development, business development, and always used data analysis, tech digitization for innovative ideas to build sustainable business relations. And now within DCMA, I am the program lead for cargo owners. So I interact mainly with retailers, manufacturers, traders directly, or I visit their association to create awareness on things we're doing and guide them to the implementation.
All right.
The people I talk to are mainly the supply chain teams, logistics teams, but also process people.
Okay. All right. We get to this point later on. A few things, practical things. This webinar will be recorded. The PDF will be made available afterwards. So the audience is on mute. So you can interact with us. Okay, you have a chat function. You see it on the right-hand side. So everybody can respond to that. But we will track the Q&A functionality. So you see the text bubbles with a Q&A in it. So if you have questions to Dave or me, but preferably to Dave, please ask these questions in the Q&A functionality. And if these questions are in line of the conversation I will be having, I will ask these questions immediately. If not, I will reserve these questions for later on. We will have a Q&A at the end. And afterwards, we have an extra 30 minutes in the virtual lounge. So Dave and I will be there, so you can talk to us directly. So basically, you click on a chair, and you're going to be seated at the table, and we have a direct conversation. All right. As of this point, Dave and I will put off the camera, so you have a better view on the slides, and you can enlarge your screen to have a better view of the slides. So basically, we are still there, but Dave and I will put off the cameras. So Dave, you can put, yes, right. So basically, we're going to talk about digitalization, also especially in the container shipping area. But what you see in the last few years, there's a lot of mentioning on supply chain, also by CEOs. Basically, they have been discovered the topic of supply chain, and this slide will show you what are CEOs talking about in their quarterly earnings call with financial analysts. And this is the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. And this visual is being produced every quarter. Quite interesting to see how it's evolving. As you see, this is in Q2. Generative AI, JetGPT, all of a sudden is even on the agenda of CEOs. That's quite new. But supply chain disruption in the lower end is still on the agenda. Reshoring is popping up again. And going to the right, you see still shortages, and supply chain over there is also still, in the picture. And new is sustainability, and that has to do with CSRD regulations popping up as of next year. This is the overview of the topics by the CEOs in Q3. And next month we have an update of this. Still reshoring, still shortages, and also a lot of economic worries. So that's on the agenda. And if you take a step back, so you have seen individual phrases, but as we know in supply chain, all these elements are connected. And I won't bother you all too long with this visualization, but basically, it's we started out with the black swan of COVID in early 2020, and it's leading to lockdowns, personal locking down of factories, boom in e-commerce, but on the other hand, shortages of raw materials, parts, and so forth and so on. Fuel prices were going up, and also shipping costs, container costs were sky high, leading to inflation and also all kind of bullwhips. And during COVID, we already had a recession in Germany, not so much in the rest of Europe. But then last year, another black swan, the war in Ukraine started and was leading in shortage in gas supply, also leading in extra cost, leading to inflation and bullwhips and more recessions. And CSRD or CBAM, cross-border administrative methodology, all sustainability related, isn't a black swan, but it's popping up and it will impact the market. So that's one thing. Before we go to this kind of thing, it looks like water, it looks like container shipping, so we get to this point. But Dave, before we go to the deep dive of container shipping and digitalization, first, could you explain me a bit more about DCSA and its mission?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. Well, you see here, DCSA, we are founded and funded by 9 out of the top 10 carriers, with the objective to shape the digital future of container shipping.
Mhm.
So we are the industry's collective voice, and we work towards alignment and standardization. You see, our members represent over 70% of global container trade, and the DCSA was founded in 2019 by the CIOs of the different members. We have an office in Amsterdam with about 50 people, where we have a global coverage. We daily connect with our members, the subject matter experts of them, connect with our product owners and the tech team to build standards and technology. DCSA has a General Assembly board, which holds the CIOs of the members and one neutral executive. We're governed by FMC, so we don't violate any antitrust regulations, and we only focus on operational activities.
Mhm.
And last, what you see is that DCSA, we are a non-profit, platform independent, and we create open source standards and which are free for everyone to use.
But
So that
if you look,
is
yeah,
what we do.
question from my side, is you are raised in 2019, so that's pre-COVID. So we have seen sky high container shipping tariffs, and that's going down. But it's all started out before COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, the for the members, it was already a longer term vision that if we want to make steps forward as an industry, we need to digitize and we need to standardize certain things. And of course, the impact of COVID also recognized for all the users in the industry that the old traditional way of doing things with paper docs stuck at desks when offices were closed was not the future for industry. So I think although it was started before, it definitely kicked in the further expansion of the scope of our activities.
Yeah, and you see, like you mentioned, it's a global membership, as you see here. So it's covered all the continents of the world. Basically, it's not a European thing per se.
Correct.
All right, maybe you can explain a bit more what you see as the strategic pillars of DCSA.
Yeah, sure. We have what you see here is the three elements which are imperative for us. One is the customer experience. To make clear, DCSA is not creating a platform or a user interface. We help each participant in the containerized trade to benefit from digital tools.
Mhm.
So you compare what we do is we compare it to email. You have different email platforms like Outlook, Gmail, and many others. Each of us, we select our own platform, and the standards behind it offer the interoperability between those systems. So the APIs what we create are the result of a wide set of use cases, And the APIs which we create together with our members, they can be retrieved directly from the carriers or the solution providers and forwarders and used between different systems. And lastly, we identify the exchange standard in build to ensure reliable and accurate information, making sure we improve operational efficiency and mitigate risks. That is when it comes to your customer experience. Looking at efficiencies, it's an enhancement to alleviate workload. We bolster integrations and provide increased flexibility and speed of transfer. There is no agreement or contract between DCSA and the users. The users pick their own partners and select their own solution providers. It's important to mention. When it comes to sustainability, this comes, of course, in many ways. DCSA is not involved in the Sustainable Fuels Initiative by the carriers, but emissions can also be reduced in different efficiency gains, like better use of assets and people, or remove the paper trails from the industry. We did a survey, and if by 2030 there will be 100% e-bill of lading, so no further paper documents between the carriers and the users. There's expected gains of new business of about 80 billion. We expect there's an expected global trade growth of 30 billion, and illegal trade is being reduced. And of course, we save a massive number of trees a year by removing the paper trails.
Yeah, but that's massive. I read an article earlier this year or last year by McKinsey that they have written an article called "The Multi-Billion-Dollar Paper Jam: Unlocking Trade by Digitalization Documentation," and they're mentioning an electronic bill of lading could save $7.5 billion in direct costs. So that's massive.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's recognized by everybody in the ecosystem that in today's world, if you see the massive paper decks moving between different stakeholders in an ecosystem, it's not where digitization should be in today's world. No. And therefore so we work not only, of course, with our members and the cargo owners, but we also have a team specifically based on the banking industry, the financial industry, because also they are very open to this kind of innovations, and they also see large benefits on their end.
Yeah. It's quite surprising that I read articles about it, as preparation of this webinar, that there's so much paper going on still in the shipping, in the container shipping industry, and maybe in the air freight it's a bit less, but still, again, there's a lot to do in this day and age. And because of that, together with DCSA, Supply Chain Movement have created a mind map. Maybe the audience have seen it, and we'll go through it later on. But basically, there's so much going on. We have a framework how to make sense of the world, and basically it's like this. So basically, we create a mind map, and if you create a mind map individually, it's hard to read it. So we have standardized it. So we create a format out of it. Starting out in the upper left, the market trends, going to the quarter right element, we go to the impact of these trends on companies. And then in the third quadrant, you talk about the challenges, and then finally you talk about the solutions, and then you are going full circle. So basically, that's what we've done with the DCSA, and we will go through it, and we have an interesting discussion, going depth to make sense of what's going on in the container shipping and related to digitalization. So first, we're going to discuss with Dave, the trends related to your world. So normally we would discuss what are the demographic trends, economic, sociological, technological, and ecological trends, and finally the political trends related to the topic at hand. And the topic at hand of today is digital shipping or digital container shipping standards. So Dave, so we created this mind map together, and we go through it. So first, what did you think of the whole setup of creating a mind map to make sense of it all and to put it on one page, or actually it's an A3 2-pager?
Well, I think it's a very good thing because especially the market trends everybody will recognize most of the things we see here. But it's also very important to see what are the impacts of the companies as a result of these trends, and how can we deal with it, and what kind of solutions is it offering. So I believe this is creating a good holistic view on the day-to-day world in which we sit. But it's good to take a step back and look at it from a global perspective.
Yeah. So I will go a bit deeper after this. But there's a lot of going on in the world, and the geopolitical environment and ecological changes are happening, and of course technological trends are here. But still, again, container shipping, globalization is going on already for years, but it will continue. So that's basically here. And again, people can download the mind map and can read through it. And we have written a whole article about it, how to read it. But maybe, in your view, do you see as the major trends from your perspective?
Yeah, sure. So of course we hear a lot about nearshoring, and yes, we talk to the manufacturers who actually change production closer to the markets to better serve the customer demands and reduce emissions. This, of course, is not something which is happening overnight, and it will take a while. But it's not that all production can be transferred to a regional, to a more local region than your sales area.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you look at the shipping statistics, the global TEU miles, we still see that still growing compared to last year. And even if you compare that back to 2019, you see a reduction from early 21, and now there's a small growth in that. Also changing a production site, that takes 2 to 3 years, and it's interesting to see that even though producers see to more regionalized sourcing, the business models for them remain same.
Yep.
So that means they still use shipping, they still use letter of credits and traditional BLs, but that of course is quite challenging if you need to complete a paper trail in 1 week instead of do it in 5 weeks.
So give you an example. So from this, when do you have a paper trail of 5 weeks, and when is it going down to 1 week?
Yeah, so if you see certain products which are now being produced in Europe, sell to Southeast Asian market, if they get that sourcing closer to the markets where they still are using shipping, this is having a massive impact on the lead times.
Yeah. So from Thailand to China is 1 week, whereas if you go from China to Thailand, that's 1 week, whereas otherwise it's 5 weeks when you consider China.
Correct. If you move that out of Europe.
Yeah, and the other way around. So that's also happening. So globalization it won't go away, and there will be some reshoring. But then again, the container shipping is still expected to rise. On one hand, and as we've seen, in the major container shipping carriers, they've invested a lot in vessel capacity. So can you comment on that? So what will that mean for the market and for their business?
Yeah, I think it's good to mention that although we are not operationally involved, it's obvious that capacity constraints and bottlenecks are behind us. The rates have softened, and shipping is less complex than it used to be.
Mm-hmm. But then again, what does it mean, this capacity? So there's still enough availability, but is there a drive to digitalize from the carriers, or what are the elements behind that?
Yeah, definitely. I believe that carriers also recognize that the communication, the operational communication in vessel sharing agreements, there's a lot of benefits they can gain. And also in terms of how they serve their customers, they all want to make sure that they have the exclusive right to differentiate themselves into the market. But in where a lot of new generations are appearing to the market, those people, they don't like to work with traditional paper documents. They need to digitize it, and they need to be able to get instant insights and making decisions based on that, instead of working with a lot of traditional data exchanges.
And if you look at the whole container shipping business, we have seen strikes in ports in the U.S. We have seen the Panama Canal, hardly being used because of low water levels. So also in a practical level, you see things changing. That's impacting the whole container shipping business.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that also stimulates the need for carriers to get a more unionized vessel scheduling, and therefore data is of course a big advantage to sync that.
Yeah. And also, we have seen recently some cyber attacks. So also in that area, there are still some threats. But then again, not going back to paper, but more digitalization and more security. So in that area, we also have something to gain.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of modern technologies involved now with identity checks and know your customer to prevent or to reduce the risk of cyber attacks.
Yeah. And also, I've seen some experience, mainly pre-COVID, also using blockchain to digitalize certain trails, paper trails, and then to digitalize it. So maybe it's getting back, to the use, or we know how to use bottleneck in that blockchain in that area. But that maybe it's too far ahead from now.
Well, the different technologies, of course, nowadays which stimulate interactions between companies over the world,
Yeah.
and but also for here, you need to set up modern technology to use those benefits in a blockchain. So that's
Yeah.
why we are so much encouraging the use of APIs in it.
Yeah. So you have to go to a certain maturity from paper work to digital, and maybe in the end there are some opportunities to use blockchain with also transactions automatically done. So, but there are some maturity steps to make.
Definitely.
Well, let's move over to the more interesting quadrant. That's the impact on companies or stakeholders. So this is the general setup of how to read and to create a mind map. So in the second quadrant, we talk about what is the impact on a company, and usually we talk about what is the impact on different business functions like finance, marketing, sales, supply chain, IT, HR, and R&D, and maybe legal. So that's the general setup of creating a mind map in a structured way. And we have taken a slightly different course by not focusing on the different company departments or business functions, but all the stakeholders. So maybe you can explain who are your main stakeholders in the container shipping environment.
Yeah, sure. So if we go to the next slide, I can give you some insights on what DCSA ecosystem is involved. I think it's the next one.
Yep.
So before I dive into the impact of the three groups, what you just mentioned, I want to share DCSA involvement in understanding what happens with these stakeholders, and to make sure that our standards meet the market demands.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see top left, we have a public affairs team who are in close collaboration with many standard bodies and institutes to drive the change. We are not here to make standards. If there are already existing standards, we just use them and for in the benefit of all of us. The PA team is involved with international, regional, national stakeholders and industry associations. So you can think about the ones like UN, IMO, ICC, all these kind of associations involved. If we look to the cargo owners and forwarders, they need to deal with a wide variety of things. There's an overall cost increase and a need for resilience, cost increase in all kinds of raw materials, which they need to prevent. There's an optimized inventory management need, demand forecasting, and order fulfillment. There's a need for system alignment with industry-wide standards. We all see that there's of course a lot of pressure on IT teams in general who are short in staff, but it's also good to mention that transferring certain EDI connections to API is relieving a lot of those pressures for cargo owners and forwarders.
Mhm.
And of course, for them, sustainability is a big driver. We already discussed it earlier, but the route for them towards that sustainability is not always clear. And the top of the organization encourage all kind of initiatives, and it's a lot of learn on the job and see to create the learnings and make from that the business cases. If you and the same applies with the forwarders. They also like to use standardized processes and data formats and coordinate movement of goods in across different transportation modes. If you look to the solution providers, in today's world we see there are, and now we talk about the e-bill of lading. There are 8 IGP&I approved platforms, and together who together this year issue several 100,000 of e-bills. They're using a variety of technology, and they also see a lot of potential to transfer this industry into 100% e-bill of lading. And the last point is here that we work with all the different participants in an ecosystem. So we also interact with the port authorities, terminals, and port community systems in benefit of standardizing unionized voyage codes and vessel scheduling, which is imperative for next steps further.
So I know that the Port of Rotterdam and also other ports also have platforms. So you are also connected to these kind of platforms to make sure that it's all connected.
Well, we are not connected, but we talk to them and we make sure that the standards which we provide on behalf of our members are also being adopted by them and learn from them what kind of standards they are using.
Instant question from the audience. I know I don't know if you want to get it into it right now, but there's a question. What will be the impact of the UK's Electronic Trade Documents Act? In force since September 20, we have already seen a completely paper-free shipment from UK to Singapore.
Right. Well, I think it's clear that the UK Electronic Trade Documents it's a very important achievement for the industry because a lot of carriers they have UK law recognized as their body for international legislation.
Mhm.
And this is of course it's an imperative one. Sorry, let me. Am I?
But I think this is just one lane, whereas DCSA wants to have the whole ecosystem on a higher level of digitalization.
Yeah, sure, but again, the UK law is they have accepted the what this makes a big difference there is that they recognize an electronic document as a fixed document which now can be used for transaction, and that was something which was not there in the past, and that is definitely helping the industry to move forward towards full digitization of bill of ladings.
Okay, clear. Another question, and maybe we get into this right now. Currently, each DCSA shipping line member have their own web booking and SI implementation. Do you expect these members to still adopt the DCSA API standards that will allow shippers like us, I don't know who's us, to develop own interface software?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, it's clear that the different members they have their own web portals, which is interacting with the industry. But also together with our members, we are creating booking standards which can be used as an API for all the different stakeholders. So for for next year, for the end of this year, we are publishing another release for our booking standard. And that means that with one defined API, users can have the same format for all the 9 members which are connected to us, which is supporting flexibility and also relieving the IT capacity. So from that first start, we not only create a booking standard, but also a shipping instruction standard, a cargo release, and an arrival notice standard. So this will be a big benefit for all the users of the carriers, but also for the forwarders and other entities involved in that. So definitely that's something which will be launched next year.
Another question is, where can we download the mind map? I will get to that at the end of this presentation. And in the PDF there is a link, but basically this mind map has been published at the website of supplychainmovement.com. It's over there, but we'll get to that later on. So when we get to the mind map itself, so this is how it looks on the impact of companies or stakeholders. So just like you have explained, what's the role of carriers, forwarders, cargo owners, financial institutions, custom authorities, also very important, and new associations like yours, but also the solution providers mentioned, to use the APIs you have a standardization for. So that's what you explained here in a different way. So moving over to the third part of the mind map, we talk about supply chain challenges, and now we get very operational and very practical. Basically, there are a lot of issues here. Basically, there's a lot of still paper going on, and bill of lading, and so forth and so on. And we have summarized the whole challenging part in this part. Basically, when we created this, Dave, it was remarkable that you need sometimes 50 sheets of paper per single shipment. So a lot of paper and a lot of stamps.
Right.
Yeah, and you've been in this business for a while.
Yeah, and I think that it's not only the bill of lading who are part of that paper slack. It's also all kind of other documents which are related to international trade, which are still in a traditional format.
Yeah, and if you see a lot of manual processes still going on, time consuming, mentioned here in the upper right, you still have to print, stamp, copy, and sign. Well, that's quite cumbersome, and that's leading to a lot of inefficiency. So that's how it's stated here in the mind map, and also claims demurrages have seen rising in the last few years. So there's a lot of need to address these cumbersome processes. And of course, the bill of lading is one aspect. And also, we map down in this mind map. Port congestion is also an aspect to worry about. So that's also here. Something you'd like to mention on that area before we go to your part?
I think the one is linked to the other, but it's clear that many users, it's a no-brainer for many people in the industry to understand the benefits changing from paper documents to digital. However, it's a challenging route because, of course, this is a global thing. It's not only with the members, but we also need to get the alignment with other bodies who are involved in the paper transfer of documents. But together with strong partners, we are making good headway. And this is already why you see that there are a couple of 100,000 EBLs issued this year. So it's a good start, but this is not something we can do by ourselves with our members. This is something we need to do with the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, and the good thing is about this mind map is, visualizing the whole complex arena of problems, challenges, all related to this shipping environment, makes it more clear where do you see the issues and where do you see also the solutions. So yeah, you have two parts you want to address in here. Maybe you can dig deeper here.
Yeah. So talking about the paper trade, on the next slide we have just a summary of the bill of lading. It's many users in the ecosystem, they use it, but it's not always entirely clear for everyone what is the role. And so it serves three things. It's the contract of carriage, it's a document of title, and it's an evidence of receipt. Like mentioned before, the use case to EBL, it's a no-brainer. To understand the value of a digital version instead of a paper stack, which has to be distributed to what you just mentioned, as many as 30 different stakeholders. But also parties using waybills. So what we see is about 2/3 of all the bill of ladings today are waybills, and 1/3 of original. So those are the paper ones. But also parties who are using the waybills, they can benefit from an integrated data stream with the use of these standards. A C-waybill, mostly in PDF format, still requires manual upload, the transfer and the tracking, and again a distribution to other stakeholders in the supply chain. So that is where we can digitize C-waybills. It creates a single data source from begin to the end, where you can insert that and connect it with your ERPs, and where you enrich your ERPs with shipping data. It's from there. It's also interchangeable with other parties, like brokers, the risk teams, the finance teams. Everybody can instantly use the same set of data. What you see is a manufacturer in the fashion industry is they're very innovative and successful in attracting a lot of young talent. But these talents nowadays, they don't like to work with paper documents anymore. What we see is they like to work with a digital standard. Forget about all the stamps and sorting of the documents. This is something they are used to, which is not always in the market yet. So that's a big change for a lot of users in the industry, that they also benefit from using technology for higher employee retention.
And it's quite logical, sorry to interrupt, but the whole fashion industry is under a kind of pressure to be more transparent. Where's this fashion coming from? With child labor and that kind of stuff. So basically, that's very important trend. But that's leading to more visibility and transparency, and also more the need for more digitalization, and that's also reflecting on the whole container shipping industry.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of digital initiatives already in that value chain. So let's also make sure that the shipping and logistics part of that is also interconnected.
Yeah. But it's good to mention that some industries are demanding a digital way of working, and they don't want to go back to all the cumbersome paperwork.
Right.
Relating to sustainability on one hand, but also on efficiency on the other hand.
Yeah.
Do you have more examples in that area?
So we have the paper trade, what we just discussed. Talking, if we referred to it earlier, the disruptions during the sudden home working. Many experienced the weakness of paper documents. Cargo was blocked, payments were delayed, and ports were stacked to full capacity. So there was a lot of creative and ad hoc solutions that were established, but that stimulated the need for further digitization. The good thing then was that what I think also one of your slides showed was that the supply chain constraints were part of the CEO level conversation that gradually has removed and still requires attention for people in the industry. Because what I hear from people is that we learned our lessons there. Now everything smoothens out, but we want to be prepared for the future and making sure that this cannot happen to us anymore.
Clear. Yeah. So I got another question from the audience, maybe related to this. The majority of shipments are on LCs and our main banks. Bank of China and Qatar have told us that they do not accept electronic bill of lading. Has your finance team been in contact with them, and is there a timeline on onboarding them?
I don't know the exact details of which banks we have fully engaged with, but
Mhm.
what I hear is that there's a lot of interest for, especially from the Chinese parties, about blockchain and digitization of trade in general.
Mhm.
So that's definitely one of the areas which we need to collaborate with because it's representing a large part of the global trade.
Yeah. Good to know, and maybe you can keep in touch with this participant to see, okay, how far are we, and we get back to this question in depth.
Yeah, that's
Um,
something we definitely encourage because we talk to, like I said, to the different parties, but we also, because we talk to the different parties, we also remove the obstacles because
yeah,
in conversation sometimes it's happened that people refer to an obstacle with another party, but if you put everybody on the same table,
yeah,
sometimes things go much smoother than expected before.
yeah. Quite so. Also, there's been talking to about EDI. There's a lot of EDI transfers going on since 80s, 90s. So, is it helping or is it hampering, or is it too costly? Can you explain something about the use of EDI in this context?
Sorry, in what context you mean?
No, the use of EDI. Not everybody is using electronic data interchange. So, how is EDI related to this whole mission of yours?
Well, I think EDI has, of course, has brought us a long way. If you look back on the earlier initiative by the carriers with the start of Intra, it was, of course, a generator where a lot of EDI connections were established
Hmm.
to create booking efficiencies and documentation gains with the use of EDI.
Hmm.
I think there's a massive number of EDIs between different parties in the shipping industry and the whole ecosystem today, but it's also requiring a lot of maintenance. And it's not always a live tool. It's based on a pool model where systems communicate one on a higher frequency than on the other, which worked fine. But if you want to go to a modern version and have a live situation only and only see the changes in your data, we need to go to a more push model, and therefore API it's a massive win for every user in the industry.
Okay, clear. Um, so getting to the final part of the mind map, So in general, we talk about supply chain solutions, and you look at the different levels of supply chain maturity. Are you using S&OP, sales and operations planning, and so forth and so on? So are you looking upstream, downstream? Are you really end to end? That's the way how we created this level of maturity to get to a framework for the mind map. So, and this is the final part of the solutions area of the mind map we created together with the DCSA. So we talk about data standards, set targets for digitalization, and collaborate with partners. And also we talk about port improvement. You can see it all here. So this is, we have explained a lot what's going on in your business and how to apply certain solutions in the area. So this is a nice overview of all the solutions we can think of in this digital shipping standardization. So maybe you can go into a few elements of this whole mind map. Too much to explain it all, but maybe you can summarize your basic solutions you want to address, Dave.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So if we see the most of the users of ocean carriers, they select a variety of vendors to optimize their coverage. So that's either that can be with carriers, it can be with forwarders.
Hmm.
And I think carriers have excelled their online platform in different stages. And there are also new platforms offering connections to a variety of carriers. But imagine the wide variety of the EDI connections and add to those the connection with port community systems and terminals. There's too wide of a variety of data standards, which is not always creating the visibility users want. So let us set the standards which are already in the market, share them through the ecosystem, and there are smart AI tools to offer best possible outcomes for the standards which we are not there. If we look at the next slide, where we can get some more into detail what DCSA is offering. So we create the standards on 3 different levels. We have our asset productivity team. They work on vessel schedules and on reliability, and who we all know that's quite challenging. Can you go to the next slide, please?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry. This one.
Yeah, thank you. The second part is the cargo visibility team. This team works with multiple stakeholders on shipment, equipment, transport, and IoT events, with the aim to boost digital transformation and on a real-time basis. And the last is the digital trade team. This great team builds a digital end-to-end documentation process where all the members align on a single data standard. So what I just referred to before. So the scope is from the booking standard to a shipping instruction, an EBL of lading, the arrival notice, and a cargo release, all with one standard. And this should enable users an easy connect with their ERP system or TMS system, with all the members in their ecosystem, and including the banks and the forwarders. And this creates efficiency, flexibility, and a much faster process.
Okay. So looking at this overview, depending of who you are, which party you represent as a stakeholder in this whole ecosystem, you can choose which supply chain to address. Is it the more only the shipping operations part, or a broader extension? You can decide upon which one you want to address, and then you have the right partner within DCSA to address this extension of the supply chain.
Right, and of course it links to the scope of the members. So this what we create is the standards. It's from if the carriers do the inland transportation, up to everything, including the vessel operation, but it also involves cargo release at destination, which through one single data standard, which is quite challenging in today's world with different actors and different data streams.
So considering that you are mainly talking about cargo owners, does it mean that you are mainly talk about the middle stream, about cargo visibility, or is it also about the digital trade? So what is the main topic you are addressing when you are talking to cargo owners?
No, I think if in my conversation with cargo owners, I realized that their business is just not about shipping. Shipping is a tool for them, enabling them to connect markets and optimize their business flows. So we talk with them about the entire scope of their business. Although we are limited, we are not involved with certificates of origin, for example, by ourselves. But that's an element if which I hear frequently from the manufacturers. This is an element which we, together with our partners at ICC, are able to work on, because at the end of the day, it's about digital trade from end to end.
Yeah.
And as said before, this is not something we can resolve ourselves, but setting standards and collaborate with everybody in the ecosystem. It's step by step, but we are making good progress, and because we all see the future is based on a full digital trade.
Yeah. Maybe in this slide you can explain a bit more what you have done so far and what you are committed to for the near future.
Yeah. So referring back to the earlier details of the e-bill of lading, we have three different there are different initiatives, and those are supported by a wide variety of leading institutes to promote the EBL. The Fit Alliance, you see the first member, that was formed in early 2022 with the 5 founding members. And the objective of the Fit Alliance are to raise awareness and accelerate adoption of a standard-based EBL. So you will see the members. It's the ICC. They are located in 170 countries. It's FIATA. So their association represents 40,000 forwarding companies. It's BIMCO. It's the Society for the World Bank, the SWIFT, who are having 11,000 financial institutions connected. So you'll see here, this is not only something we can do from a shipping perspective, but we need to do it for all the stakeholders, and that's why we have established this Fit Alliance and have a great cooperation with all these members.
Mm-hmm.
The second part is the CEO commitment. That is something which was launched early this year, and it's a meaningful step towards removing trade friction. We improve the customer experience and increase the sustainability of container shipping. You will see the document. All the CEOs of the different members, they have assigned that by 2030 we need to get 100% e-bill of lading, and this is of course encouraging all the organization which we work with.
Yep.
And the last part is the EBL declaration, which was launched by the Fit Alliance members September this year. And that declaration emphasizes the significance of EBL. You will see there's a lot about a small 100 companies who are the front runners on this digital future. And it's commencing with the adoption of EBL. This is of course a very tangible document, which is a good experience, I believe, for organization in this transformation towards digital trade.
I was wondering, I see, it's quite small, but I see it here on a larger screen, all the logos, and some are, well-known companies. Do you want and do you expect more of larger cargo owners to join in this effort of this EBL declaration? So what do you expect from that side?
Yeah, well, definitely. What we see is already, of course, this EBL declaration. It's signed publicly. It's endorsed publicly, and I talked to a lot of cargo owners who definitely embrace the whole EBL declaration. But in terms of internal compliance, they are not able to sign that declaration. But the ones who are, that gives a good stimulus for others to join. And especially if you look what's hard to read here, I think later on you will share the link to the declaration.
Yep.
You will see that a lot of financial institutes have already signed this. So that's a good signal towards the market.
Before we get to the question, we have a few slides to wrap up what we have done on the mind map. So basically, we have addressed all the 4 quadrants in the mind map. So this is the general setup of how to create a mind map in a structured way. So this is the mind map, how it looks like in total. So this is what we have published a month ago, and this will be available online. And also I will show you the link where to download it. So this is how it looks like, the whole mind map. So we have been through the market trends in the outside world, the impact on the companies, or basically all the stakeholders. So in the lower right quadrant, you see the operational challenges for the digital shipping world. And then in the 4th quadrant, we addressed the solutions. Basically, that's applying the digital shipping standards Dave have mentioned. And this is something apart from DCSA. We have created a supply chain movement. Visualize your whole ecosystem, and you get a better understanding of what's happening and who's involved and what are the flows in goods, information, and finance. So applying to the container shipping world, you see the shipping companies in the red circle, and the freight forwarders involved in that. And you see, the cargo owners, that could be brand manufacturers and wholesale companies, asking for shipments by container shipping. And you see also the logistics service providers as a party involved. But also when you look at the gray area in the upper right side, you see also banks and data providers. So basically, this whole visualization of the ecosystem is a better representation of what's happening in the whole supply chain and in the whole business. And basically, this is about household products. It's the world of Unilever and Procter and Gamble and Reckitt. But this is a better representation of how to visualize the world of all the parties involved. All the stakeholders are here also. Here, you maybe an call to action from your side, Dave.
Yeah, I'm glad to do that. First point, I think it's clear that IT teams have a full agenda and limited capacity. However, we cannot emphasize enough that capacity is relieved with the use of modern standards. Talk to your IT teams, refer them to our standards page. It includes interface standards. It includes a link to Swagger Hub where everybody can see what we are publishing and keep connected to our site, because there are frequent updates on the standards in benefit of all and widening the scope of it. Talk to your partners. So there are prominent solution providers and our members all using standards or working on them. Our track and trace APIs are used a couple of million times per month already. So you will not recognize DCSA in an API, but at least you know it's already alive and it's active. What it's also, we understand it's a big transformation to get into the digital shipping. What we have seen is people are hesitant to see what is the impact, hesitant about the change. There's a lot of people who like to work on paper documents, but as a gradually start, you participate in pilots. Again, the EBO, it's already there. It doesn't cost a lot of investment. It's just reaching out to your own network and see to get the benefits in. And with those learnings, it's hopefully igniting a further integration to the full digital supply chain.
Yeah.
And that's the same like what we are mentioning. If today manufacturers or receivers or traders are opening their contracts with the carriers or the forwarders, already open the conversation referring back to the DCSA standards, because it's known out there with all these industries. And as last but not least, connect with us. I think within DCSA we have a good group of people who are great ambassadors to driving this digital change, and we can guide you towards implementation, connecting with the right people, and open for any questions or suggestions from the audience on that.
All right. And I have some further links, a few slides down there. Q&A. There are some questions popping in, and I've already, asked a few questions to Dave. Another question, from the audience. We know that some of the solution providers allow the exchange of other documents, such as certificate of origin, etc., in addition to the electronic bill of lading between stakeholders by platform. Is it also something you are encouraging or providing? So next to the e-bill of lading, is there more exchange of other documents you are facilitating or standardizing?
No, for our standards are focused on the e-bill of lading, but it's clear, of course, that if you look at the entire end-to-end process, there are many data elements which will be used for different documents. So maybe we do not cover all the items of a certificate of origin, but majority is already within our portfolio, and it's already in the standards which we are providing.
All right. A final question before we wrap up, and I want to mention we have an extra 30 minutes for other questions to Dave in the virtual lounge. Are you seeing strong participation from countries in Latin America, such as Brazil, Colombia, and Chile, or are they laggards? Something to comment on your side on that area?
I heard from our members that there's a lot of interest for specifically for those countries, but it's Brazil. It's a pretty complex one in terms of digital bill of ladings, but it's high on the agenda and it's addressed with them because especially in those areas where there's lead times are much shorter compared to large intercontinental trades. The usage of digital documents, it's very important for them as well to further expand their business activities.
Okay, good point. We're out of time. As I mentioned, we have an extra 30 minutes right after this. So, if you have more questions, and I see some more questions unanswered, feel free to join us. Dave and myself will be joining at table 1. So take a seat, and we have an extra 30 minutes. As I mentioned, here are the links. So on the left-hand side is a link to our download of the ecosystem of household products, where you can visualize your ecosystem. In the middle is the mind map we have explained during this webinar. And on the right-hand side, there's more information about the EBL commitment and also to connect with DCSA. So with this, I would like to thank the audience for participating and asking these questions. And I would like to thank Dave for joining me and explaining more in this, quite interesting world of this multi-billion paper jam in the container shipping environment. So Dave, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Martijn. My pleasure.
And again, we will be in the lounge right after this. So please join us in the virtual lounge if you have more questions. And maybe I will see you in another webinar Wednesday. There will be more to come also this year, but also a lot of webinars for next year. For now, thank you for now, and I hope to see you later in the lounge or at another webinar. Thanks for now, and bye-bye.